Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. From uncertainty to unity, that was Erik Ten Hag's message as he sat down with journalists at the UCLA. Get involved in today's chat, Reds, because we will try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. Plus, we've got some transfer updates later on in the video, so stay tuned for that one. But what was your first takeaways from this interview from Erik Ten Hag?
Well, before we get into the details of this interview, I've just got to say this. Every Manchester United fan now understands what they're supporting, what they've got to get behind with this interview. A very clear understanding of the path Erik Ten Hag and the club are on. Very clear. It's as clear as anything. This is what you're going to get behind. Erik Ten Hag and the club will not waver in any way from what's being said in this interview. The path is clear. There's going to be no knee-jerk reactions. They're all in sync with each other. Clearly, you read this, you listen to us, and hopefully you will get a good understanding of what you are going to get behind as a Man United supporter.
Yeah, looks like they won't deviate from the plan, whether injuries occur or not, etc. But he did sort of like swerve the question about how he felt with the manager search over the summertime. And he come back positively, though, saying that we have good people at the club, highly competent people. They would contribute to more success. So regarding your question, I don't think negatively. I feel positive and very aligned.
Well, he feels positive because he come out of it with his job.
Yeah.
Okay, he came out with his job. Very angry man. We all know that. Everyone would be in the same circumstances. We know he plays with words a lot, Erik Ten Hag, but it's clear he's now aligned with those people. They're now working for the best interests of Manchester United. I don't really take too much about what he says, about what he thinks of him when they try to get rid of him. We're not daft. We're not idiots. We know there's going to be a bit of sour grapes there, right? And it will take time to get over and rebuild that trust.
Yeah, he did say at the bottom of that snippet there on the contract extension and the new deal, and he said he actually wanted this deal. I think 2 years in football is a really long time, and in 2 years we will see what we have built on top of what we have already achieved now.
Yeah, he's saying it doesn't need more than 2 years. He sort of goes in the interview talking about how he came out when he was in Ibiza, when the suits went over there to talk to him. My reading of it is clear. He demanded that they gave him that 1 year extension before they walked out of that room. That's how I see it. He was a very angry man. The interview sort of says that. He wasn't happy. And he demanded that. There was no negotiations. He says that about a further contract. It was, I want this now. Before you walk out of here, that's it. He said it got done quickly. We needed to get it done quickly. And this was the easiest way to do it. But reading that, my take on it is he demanded there and then that they give him that extended contract, which then gave him 2 years. And I don't blame him. He was a very, very angry. Clearly, we've had other interviews, and that came out.
Yeah, obviously activated that 1 year option on his deal, kept him here for 2 years. But at the bottom of that, he said what we've already achieved. Now, some people out there who might think negatively will say, well, what have we achieved? But you've got to look at it, you know, 2 trophies in his first 2 seasons. He did actually say after the FA Cup final, well, if Ineos don't want me, I'll go and win trophies somewhere else. So do you expect more trophies under Erik Ten Hag?
I do expect more trophies because at the end of the day, you look at the 2 trophies he's won, that's fine. But that's not what Ineos want. Ineos have come in here, right, to resurrect the fortunes of Manchester United and make it the big club it should be right round the world. I just look at it and think to myself, 2 trophies, yeah, it's good, it's fine, I'm happy with that. But it's not what we're all expecting, and it's not what Ineos are expecting. And I'm sure Erik Ten Hag is a fighter. I will fight. He does say that, and he will try and get us what we think we want, and that's the league. That's the first aim. That will take time. But 2 trophies, yeah, it's fine, but it's not really what Manchester United are all about.
Yeah, what would be challenging for the top honours in the Champions League and the Premier League. But as we all know, it will take time.
Yeah.
But talking about himself and being the Manchester United manager, he did actually allude to in there what you can see highlighted in red, that it's his club and he could have gone into other projects with much better conditions, with much better structures. But I chose this, Manchester United. I feel this is my club and I want to go for the challenge. Although I knew this was very tough, this is very hard.
Well, reading that interview there, he knew it was very tough. Knew it was very tough before he walked in there. He got pure negativity about don't go into Manchester United. The people was pecking his head, saying don't go in there, it's this, it's that, it won't work, it won't work. But he turned around and he says, I wanted to come to Manchester United. I'm a fighter and I will turn this club round. And as he says, he's got 2 trophies in 2 years. So that's success from Erik ten Hag's point of view. And he could have gone other places. There was no one really backing him and saying, go on, Erik, take that job. I'm confident it'll work out for you. All the negativity. So fair play to him. He's a fighter. And we've seen that in the last 6 months. Well, I'd say the last 4 months of the season ended. The way he came out fighting to the media and everything. And I think this interview clearly tells you, with the path we're set on, okay, and that he's not going to waver, okay, and that the club aren't going to waver, he's a fighter. And you can expect a different Erik ten Hag this year. That's how I see that interview. And he clearly is a fighter, and that's what I like about him.
You've got to look as well over the summertime. There was talks about him maybe becoming the Bayern Munich manager before Vincent Kompany. When you're talking about people advising him not to come to United, one sticks out in my mind anyway, and that was Louis van Gaal. Very outspoken against Manchester United after they left, saying it was a commercial club, etc. Which, I've got to be honest with you, I remember reading that and I was thinking really bad thoughts against him. I was looking at his picture thinking, mate, you've got a face like a deflated rugby ball. Stop speaking about my club like that. Yeah. But the truth hurts, and he was right, Louis van Gaal.
Yeah, he was right, and Erik ten Hag heard it all. He's heard all the negativity, but he put that aside because he believed in himself. And that's what you want in somebody who's in charge. Now he's got the right people in place. He's meeting them on a daily basis at the moment. Obviously, that won't happen all the time, right? And he's got the public support from the club. Now, that is a good thing. He's never had that before. I've always said Erik ten Hag has to be out there. He's been out there, shall I say, on his own, giving speeches and giving explanations about everything in the club. Now he's got other people to do it. Now, what's clear, and what the most important thing is the players now see that Erik ten Hag has got the public support from the people in charge, and that will shape them into action. The
players will see it as well, as we've seen in loads of reports, especially in the first 6 months. Sir David Brailsford, Jason Wilcox, when he's coming, Dan Ashworth will be there all around the training ground, and the players will see that day to day and the standards that's expected from him.
Yeah, it's okay, them all coming in and that, but players are players, they're in a mindset and all that. Well, this summer, it just looks different. You can see it in and around when you're watching sort of like snippets of the players and interviews and all that. You can see there's a mind change, and that's what Erik ten Hag alludes to. It's the public support he's getting. Now then, the mindset of the players are changing because there is no messing about here. You either lump it in, get on with it, and do everything what you're told and back the club, back the management at anything, and then players can clearly see. If they don't do that, it's the highway, and that's fine for me and fine for everyone.
As we know, playing devil's advocate here, that, you know, we're talking about mindsets. It's all good talking about mindsets in pre-season, etc., when everything's hunky-dory. But it matters when that Premier League season starts and what we see on the field from the players and the manager as well.
Well, it's belief. It's belief. The belief comes from the top, and we've not had that. And the mindset, it comes from the top. And we know what the mindset of Ineos is. They want change, they're making it quickly, and they want success. And they're going to do whatever it takes to get there. So the belief in the players and the mindset is going to completely change by the time that season starts. They will go into that season and they will fight. And they know if they don't fight like everyone else is, from the suits to Erik ten Hag, the coaching staff, they're out. There is no nonsense here anymore.
The thing is, it's always been said about the demands of fans and what the fans put on the players as well. I think the demands are higher from the people inside the club now as well.
Yeah, they're higher. I mean, if you look at the demands beforehand, it was all like, what's this, what's that? No one knew what was going on. This is a clear... Well, they clearly didn't.
This, that and the other.
Yeah, this, that and the other. There was no plan. There wasn't a 6-month plan. Yeah. These are going for a 10-year plan.
Like, what time am I coming in tomorrow? Oh, it's flexi time. Just stroll in whenever you want.
And it's all about attitude within there. Well, the attitude was always wrong in there. These people have got a plan, right? And they're going to be ruthless. And that's what you want.
Yeah. He was talking about the new coaches as well and the positivity that's brought, you know, with the likes of Ruud van Nistelrooy, Hacker, goalkeeping coach, etc.
Yeah, but the more than a coach, and that's the good thing about it, they've got managerial skills. So their scale of competence is higher than the normal coach. They're there, they've been the coaching route, they've been managers, it's all there, which will all help Erik ten Hag. Obviously, some coaches have had to go. That's fine. It changes. He's lost one right-hand man, but that was a joint thing. He's gone off. He wants to do manager. Yeah, Van der Gag. He wants to do managerial things, but he's got proper people of a higher standard with him now, because that's the standard Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos want, and that's what we all want. We want professionalism. We want it right. We want the best people. We go back to that one. Best in class. There's a build on that. It is going to be more time to build on best in class. So over the next few years, that's what we'll have in place.
And I wouldn't be surprised in, let's say, even the next 2 years, building on the coaching staff we've already got now and refreshing it, as he talked about in there, new dynamics, fresh ideas, etc.
Yeah, well, it's a clear path.
It's about keep the ball rolling, not like stagnating like we have done over the last 10 years.
Well, they're clearly not going to stagnate. They've said, we're on the path, we're going to stick on the path. We all know what the path is. No one's going to waver, no knee-jerk reactions. So you've got to say, they will keep evolving. They will keep changing. They will keep improving. They won't stagnate. That's what you want. Manchester United should never stagnate, and we've stagnated for over 10 years now. And inside Manchester United has just gone from up there, down there to rotten. Now it's all changed. We've got to listen. I go back to the beginning. What I said. It's a clear understanding. Every Manchester United fan should have no worries here. Okay, on this interview clearly tells us, I've no worries. I just hope that it works. And if it doesn't work, then we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, he did talk about the youth as well, especially with some of the youth that have come into the team over the last 12 months on the tour as well. And he's saying that we've got to have patience with him as well.
Yeah, patience. It's like when you look at young players, they come in, then they have a couple of games and then they go out. And then what it is, you have to sort of look at when they come back. It's all about character. In the interview, they talk about these young players and the character of, we know what we're dealing with. We understand players come in, go out, and it's all about character. And that's what it really is. If you've got the character to be knocked back and then come back and fight, that's what you want. So maybe there's something in it when you see young players like being booted out and you're scratching your head and thinking, he's played well, why is he still there? Yeah. That's the challenge to the character. Good psychology.
Do you know
that's how it should be.
With you just saying that, you've just reminded me, I think you said it on yesterday's video about Garnacho at the start of last season.
Yes.
I think he was in for something like 4 games and he took him out for a bit.
Yeah.
And it seemed to do him good because he bounced back and he was probably one of our best players last season, in that underperforming season.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe that's part of the psychology with young players and that. So you might see the same where Ahmad's brought in at the start of the season and then taken out. And it's all about getting the character for that first team to grow in stature, to see what it's like in adversity. So at the end of the day, Garnacho did it, and that will be worked on the same, on some other young players. So don't be surprised if we see young players brought into the squad, into the first team, and then taken out.
Do you think he's an exception, though, Kobbie Mainoo? Or do you think Ten Hag would like a midfielder to come in to sort of like, bring him in for 4 or 5 games and give him a rest, etc.? Or is Kobbie Mainoo, like I say, one of them exceptions where he's just got to start every single game?
No, I think Kobbie Mainoo was in. I go back last summer. Kobbie Mainoo was brought in to start at the season. And I think the same would have happened to him. Bring him in, few games, take him out, give him a rest, let him get used to it, talk.
Adapt.
This is what you need, adaptation. But you've got to remember Kobbie Mainoo was injured and he was always ready to step up into that first team. So he played a few games, played a half a game here and whatever, and then bang, he was into his stride. But he would have started at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, we didn't see him and things might have been different.
Someone who has got to turn things around from last season, and that's Marcus Rashford. And he did talk about him saying he should fight for it, but we are not robots. We are dealing with human beings. And he did talk as well about a vibe last season, and that vibe needs to improve with Rashford as well, because he still thinks he can be a top class player.
The vibe on Marcus Rashford hasn't changed for many people. They're on a downer. And what it is with Marcus Rashford, lots of things in the interview there. He talks about Rashford. He's just rehashing what we've heard last year, excuses and all that. And it's simple. He talks about Marcus Rashford has to fight. So that's what I want to see. What he says in the interview is just rehashing what we've all heard. It's just mumble jumble as far as I'm concerned. And the only thing I see in there about Marcus Rashford, fight. He has to fight. And if he doesn't do it, I think that interview is telling Marcus Rashford, you know what's coming if you don't fight, because that's what's missing.
That is going to be interesting on that left-hand side, though, come the start of the season, because Rashford's obviously had the pre-season tour down him. So do you expect him to start on the left and it'd be more Garnacho sat on the subs bench coming on as an impact sub?
I think Garnacho and Rashford, the duel is there to fight. And it's who starts first and who's going to keep that spot. It's called fighting, and you need two players fighting for the same spot. To be successful going forward, you have to have rivalry and you have to have a challenge in life. And on that left, there's two of them there. So he's telling Marcus Rashford, you have to fight. So as far as I'm concerned, Garnacho's in front. Garnacho's in front, and he has to fight for it. That's what I take from the interview.
Well, he's going to have the first few games, surely, Rashford, to show what he can do and put to bed last season's performances. Like I say, with Garnacho not getting really a pre-season down him yet at United.
Maybe, but Garnacho is a fighter and he's got his place. Don't want to lose it. And it's all about, let's see what Garnacho's character's like, which is great. It's great for competition.
Well, let's hope they can both perform on the pitch, because it'll only benefit us next season. So that is going to be a real challenge. But on the right-hand side, Ahmad and Anthony, is there really a challenge there anymore, or should Ahmad be starting now them first few games to show what he can do?
No, there'll always be a challenge. It's whether the players are up to it. What we clearly see, okay, Ahmad's in the spotlight at the moment and he's performing. And even his own words tell you, he wants it, he's here, I'm taking it. And he clearly is going to take that starting spot at the beginning of the season. It's how Erik Ten Hag manages him, how the coaches manages him. But no, don't count Anthony out, okay? Do not count him out. He will go for it. Whether he'll succeed, I'm not too sure about that. I'm doubtful.
Let's see from what he can do at the start of the season up until, let's say, January.
Who?
Anthony.
I don't know. I think you'll know early on with Anthony.
Is that not long enough, considering how he's already had a couple of seasons down him?
No, I think you'll see early on with Anthony. First 4 or 5 games, yes, we've got a break in September. So after that break in September, because they're international duty, I think a couple of games after that, you'll see if Anthony has got the character, has got the fight for it. I don't think you'll need to wait till January. We've already seen...
No, I was meaning January for the club maybe to make a decision on the previous games in the season to then see, well, should we look at maybe loaning him out, or should we make a decision now that in the summer, you know, this ain't going to change the improvement in form?
I think the way the squad's going to be, I don't think they'll loan anybody out who's in the squad in January. He's here. He'll have a year to fight. But what I'm saying is our own eyeballs will tell us if he's fighting and he's got the character. Doesn't need Erik Ten Hag or anyone in the club to tell us. We've seen what Anthony's done on and off the pitch. We've seen his character, and is he prepared for it? We know he's a bit wild. Our own eyes. No one's going to tell me what I see of Anthony. I already know.
He did talk about the importance of Casemiro and having him in the team. He says he's an important player, he's a leader, and he can make a difference to our team. Now, this is a player who most of us thought might leave Man United this summer.
OK, I look at it this way. Casemiro, he talks about him, he's a leader, and he wants him in there as a leader. I don't think when you look at the three names we've mentioned, Rashford, Anthony, Casemiro, and it's puzzling to me, all three of them have been talked about constantly of leaving Manchester United. So he's making a point. I might be wrong here, but I believe he's making a point about them three players. He's warning them three players who have been talked about constantly over the last few months, Rashford a lot longer, of leaving this club, going out on loan, being sold and everything. So I think he's made a point. I think it's a subtle way of making a point to these three. Yeah. I'm backing you now in public.
The thing is, he does do that, though.
Yeah,
and he has backed players previously. He has got form for it, for backing them in public, like Ronaldo, etc. Maguire, when he lost the captaincy, De Gea. But we've seen with Ronaldo and De Gea, they shortly left the clubs. Yeah, you know, Jadon Sancho as well.
Well, this is what I'm looking at. He's backing them in public. That's what you want from a manager. You don't want a manager coming out and slagging players off, saying, "Oh, he didn't do it last year. Yeah. I want to get rid of him." I agree with you all out there. Let's get rid of him. I'm just sort of saying, I'm looking at this. Them three players. I think he's warning them in a very subtle way. Okay, I'm backing you, but it's not going to last for long. That's how I read it. That's how I read the interview.
He did say not long ago as well that Jadon Sancho's a good player and Manchester United need good players. And he also said in this interview that we've left this behind us and we said everything about this. And that was basically Ten Hag and Sancho drawing a line of what previously happened. Yeah,
they've left it behind them. They have to. They're moving on. Clearly, Ineos have sorted this out with Erik Ten Hag, with Sancho. It has to be left for the good of Manchester United. We're going forward. But we're not daft. We're not daft. The interview tells you. It tells you he's not answering the question, did he apologise? We all know he never apologised. I've said it from day one. He has not apologised. And this interview skips it like Erik Ten Hag does. That tells you Sancho hasn't apologised. But they've moved on. They're getting over it for the benefit of the club. Okay, the long term of the club. We know Sancho will be sold if someone comes in for him. We know Sancho has got other places to be, where he wants to be. Manchester United, he has not gone on about Manchester United since he has come back here. He's not talked about Manchester United on his social media or anything, okay? He's not said, I'm great to be back or anything like that. Sancho is Sancho. But if it works out, fine. If they get him playing football, fine. And I go back to what I'm saying here about the names, what he's mentioned. These are all players, okay, what could be going, what have been talked about going, and they're being warned. Get a move on, sort yourself out.
Do you think it's more, though, if he does stay at United past the deadline of the transfer window, that it's more or less a ticking time boom? If he does stay in that squad and he's not being picked regular in that first team?
Well, if he's not being picked regular, then it's his own fault. We all know that. He's just not good enough. He can't get into the team. Many people, I've said it loads of times, I don't think he likes the Premier League football. I think he has to do more work, and I don't think he's prepared for the fight.
The intensity, the actual
game. Intensity. If you look at the pre-season games, what you're seeing now is you're seeing players, right, being available. They're running and making themselves available. There is more running what's going on. I want to get involved. I want the ball. Don't hang about with the ball.
I think it's
Is Sancho up to it? We'll soon find out.
Yeah, Erik Ten Hag always says he wants the team to be aggressive without the ball as well, and I don't really see that in Sancho's game. But, you know, let us know what you think about Sancho, if he's got a future still at Manchester United. But I'm just going to go on to a little bit of transfer news, and that's that United submit a joint bid for De Ligt and Mazza, aka Mazraoui. But what's your thoughts? Do you think any of these will come to United before transfer deadline day?
Well, I look at what Erik Ten Hag has just said there. There's no knee-jerk reactions. They're not going to have that, okay? But what he has said about the Lenny Euro injury, he's always wanted, they've always looked at having and bringing in two centre-halves before the Lenny Euro injury. So, yes, I do believe they need, well, we all believe we need two centre-halves, and I do believe that they're still going for a centre-half. Another centre-half, and that could end up going back to Branthwaite. Who knows how the De Ligt one? It seems to be going on. But Erik Ten Hag makes it clear, it's down to the club. The club are doing the negotiations. They've got to get it sorted. The club want a second centre-half. They're all in sync with each other, but can they get it over the line? And we know there's a problem, and that problem boils down to the evil thing of money.
Yeah, you'd like to think we can get something over the line, at least one or two in the next week or two. You've got Ligt Mazraoui, Agati as well. By all reports, personal terms have been agreed with all three of them. So it's just a matter of sorting a fee out with the clubs. We've still got Scott McTominay, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, two players who are looking likely to leave United as well. So that'll bring some money in. Yeah,
it'll bring some money in. Will it help get these players over the line? I'm not too sure. There might be one or two surprises, players leaving it, who knows? But the thing is, they've got the players, they're there, and it's just a matter of sorting out the money, sorting out with the clubs, how they're going to pay it and everything else like that. Yeah. So the players are there, but it's that again, it's that old scenario. We're all getting frustrated because we want them now, okay? What you want for the successful team to start in the Premier League is a good pre-season. We're not having a good pre-season. It's not been long enough, okay? So there will be problems. So not getting them players in now will create more problems. But they know that. They're not daft, and they're not going to waver. They're just not going to waver.
Yeah, I think you and Webby need to open up your wallets and give a loan to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, get some players in before the window ends. But I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today, getting involved in the chat. It's been absolutely popping off. Loads of different opinions as usual, which we love to see. If you want to support us, smash a like on the video, Reds, and we'll be back tomorrow night because we will be doing a watch-along for Manchester United versus Liverpool. So if you are awake, you want to come and join us, come and see us at 11:45, and that's when we'll start our live stream. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.